you so much, Ashley. I am going to share my screen and ask that you wait. Yeah, so my name is Jen, like Ashley said, and I am so honored to represent a place called Rainbow Acres, where I have served almost 11 years. An absolutely beautiful and wonderful group of adults between the ages of 18 to 85. And I'm honored to tell you about how our program is structured. I have had the honor this spring of touring many different programs and seeing all the different things that people do. And I love every idea, and I love connecting families with the choice that's best for them. So Rainbow Acres is a place where people live residentially, where it's our goal to always be thriving. We offer fruitful amounts of work for the people that serve as employees and the people that live with us. And we are a place that relies heavily on philanthropic support. And so it's a place where volunteers and donors make a huge impact when they give. Rainbow Acres, these are 3 of our residential homes on our 50-acre campus that I'm going to tell you about. We're located in Camp Verde, Arizona, which the little star shows you we're located almost in the center, the geographic center of the state. So just 10 degrees cooler than Phoenix, which is really exciting some days. We have 11 homes that look similar to these homes. And so we are a place where we offer residential health support, spiritual support, program support, all in a holistic environment that we want to always feel like home. Rainbow Acres it's a pretty big celebration right now. We're celebrating 50 years in operation. And starting on September 21st of last year. So we've been really celebrating the fact that we have been really blessed over our 50 years. Our founder was a man named Ralph Showers, he just had a huge vision for people to live in a place where they were living to their fullest potential, that their abilities were more important than what they could not do as well as other people. And he was a very dynamic personality, and when you met him, you just really wanted to come along for his vision. And that is what happened for those first 20 years. And he created this campus and other campuses that all have become part of Rainbow Acres. Our next president for a long period of time, 27 years, was a man named Gary Wagner, and he was skilled at fundraising, and he was skilled at telling the story of Rainbow Acres and able to tell people what it would be like for them to contribute and help make this place look the way that it looks. So during his time as president, he oversaw the fundraising and construction of 14 beautiful buildings that make up our campus. So certainly he helped to realize and further the dream that Ralph had for Rainbow Acres. Mike Procello is our current president. He's been with us just about 2 years. He's a man with an extremely big heart for our group of residents. His desire is to see both the visions of Ralph and Gary come from where they were and grow even bigger. So right now we are in the midst of always improving our campus and also improving our programming. Something that's true about Mike's leadership that may be different than the past is that we currently serve 3 very distinct generations on our campus that all have different needs. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that too. So we have 82 residents on our 50-acre campus. So as I said, we're a place where adults of all ages, 18 and over, currently the oldest is 85. So choose to live here if they have a primary diagnosis of a developmental disability, intellectual disability, or on the autism spectrum. Our residents choose to live here. It is definitely something where we need them to be just as engaged with living here as their parent or as their guardian, because once they live here, this is their place. So they have to be people who want this type of life, want this type of campus as their home. Most of the time, our ratio is 8-to-1 or smaller, and sometimes it can be larger depending on the activity. We're not a 1-to-1 model, although we do support people with different skills and tasks throughout the day in a 1-to-1 fashion, but we're not designed for somebody who needs 1-to-1 all day long. We are private pay, and our current cost is $49.50 per month for the year 2024. And that cost is evaluated annually by the labor index. And I'm going to show you some slides later on about our budget and how that plays out in order to meet our needs. Our residents have many different primary diagnoses, like I mentioned. I would say that this slide has changed even in the years that I've been working here. About 60% of the inquiries that have been coming in the last 2 years are people who would say that they are on the autism spectrum. So I would say that I see the primary diagnosis shifting, that bar shifting much higher over the next couple of years. And that's what we are training our staff toward, that future. Our residents, this is a map of the United States, obviously. Our residents come from primarily California and Arizona, and with a high concentration in Colorado as well, but they do come from all over the country. Part of the reason why this map is interesting to me is because our founder largely spent time in those places, seeking, spreading the word about what we were doing. So many of the families that came to us over the first several years came from within driving distance, California, Colorado. The other thing is, I would say that sometimes what I've noticed in the last several years is that families might come from a state that's farther away in their retirement years, and then when their loved one moves to Rainbow Acres, they end up moving closer to their loved one. So we are structured in a way that there are a few key things that help us serve the residents the way that we do. I'm actually going to start at the bottom. We are accredited by the only faith-based national accrediting body through the United Methodist Association called EAGLE. And we also have an assisted living license through the Department of Health Services with the state of Arizona. So those two accreditation and license make up the largest portion of how our best practices are formed and how we make decisions that affect the way that we do things on the campus. Our direct support staff hold a certification through the state of Arizona, and so that they have an increased amount of knowledge in medical needs and those kind of details, so that they can work with our residents in a more, not a medical model, but more medical oversight than without that certification. The top bullet talks about we have families go through a third-party financial review during admission. And my goal with that financial review is not only to protect the future of Rainbow Acres, but it's also to help families know that they've done the best planning that they can do to meet their loved ones' needs for the long term. Part of why we have families do that is because Rainbow Acres has had a long-standing feeling of and commitment to supporting people after they have outlived their loved ones' finances. And so in order to keep promises from people from the past, to not have them leave once they've run out of their finances, or their finances have diminished and they need some support from us to meet their cost of care, we want to make sure that the budget can handle what people may need in 10, 20, and 30 years from now, because now operating 50 years, we definitely have kept commitments that were made 50 years ago to families. A little bit about how our homes are set up. They are 10-bedroom homes, and we have 11 of them. and each person has a private bedroom and shares a bathroom with their neighbor. On site, we also have 8 private apartments, and that's for individuals who have a desire to live with an ability to live with more space, but also still want to live on our campus in our community with the friends that they've made. So we are obviously open 24/7, 365, never closed any day of the year. We do have many people who visit family all over the country, but they don't have to do it at a specific time, like a school model where, you know, the campus closes down for Christmas, or in the summer, it's open all the time. We have lots of criteria listed on our website, and I would encourage you to look at our website and watch some of the videos we have there. But these are the 4 that I thought kind of help us the most understand who would be a good fit at Rainbow Acres. A person who's ready for Rainbow Acres is a person who is accepting of support and ready to be a good citizen. So somebody who wants to live in community with other people and understands that they do need some support. So somebody who's less aware of their need for support and is in a tougher season of their life, the ratio that we offer might be very difficult for them to thrive in. Our residents are, our campus is not a secure campus. They need to be able to understand the boundaries around them and navigate our campus fairly independently. And they need to be free from aggression and be able to navigate most of their self-care. However, we do give a lot of support with daily living skills. We have current openings for males and females. This is the inside of one of the houses. It's called the Oikos house. It's actually the house that is attached to my office, so I'm in there quite a bit. And so the rooms are on the outside of the house facing, you know, windows facing out. And then the middle of the house is the living area with the TV and the dining area and the kitchen. And people are, I work with families throughout the admissions process to help them know which house is a best fit for them in personality or in interests, not in age or disability. So our houses are a wide range of needs as long as the personalities and interests are aligned. The way that we help people thrive is through many, many different things that we do here on campus and in our local communities. So we work with multiple departments on the ranch to individually design a schedule for our residents. That the team that designs that schedule is the resident, their family, the care coordinator, which is like an advisor here on campus, the health and wellness team, the academy, which are educators, and our caregivers. So everybody is trying to give feedback that either supports or is curious about what the resident would like to do and like to see happen in their life. If a resident has a job, a paid job off campus in local communities, then their schedule is built around that job schedule. So the Rainbow Academy is a group of educators that carry out the classes that are happening on site. And those classes may be anything from US history to relationship coaching and pre-employment classes and things like that, preparing to have a job. We believe in lifelong learning to help people build skills. We believe in being part of the local community through volunteerism and community activities. We love going on vacation and overnight trips and love taking part in Special Olympics. So Rainbow Acres does 4 Special Olympics throughout the course of the year. And we host the Northern Arizona Bocce tournament for Special Olympics for all of Northern Arizona. Spiritual life activities are all optional, but a faith-based background is important to Rainbow Acres. And so what I tell people is that it's okay and celebrated if they don't come from a faith background. However, I want them to know that that is a huge part of who we are and the way that we see the world, and we want them to take part in whatever they want to take part in. There's a lot to unpack on this slide, but I think it's really important. So I'm going to start on the column on the left. So I said earlier that one of the things that's unique about this moment in time is being multi-generational on our site. So our 18 to 35 age group is 25% of our residents, and they really need and thrive best in having supports that are tailored to their generation. So having a heavier focus on technology plans and boundaries and employment, life coaching and relationships and how relationships work. They need a very different approach to those type of issues than our older residents tend to need. However, our largest group is the 35 to 60 age group, and they make up 40% of our residents. So they need support in maintaining their jobs that they already have, continuing to have relationship support. We find that we need to give them a lot of encouragement and to remember to keep trying new things, that they have a lot of life left to live between 35 and 60. And so accountability to their responsibilities as far as contributing to not just the Rainbow Acres community, but the area where we live called the Verde Valley, and accountability to their families of origin. And those are things that we spend a lot of time on in that age group. And then 35% of our residents are in that 60 to 85 plus age group. It is not actually impossible or uncommon to have somebody move into Rainbow Acres in their 60s. And that happens often when a family member, when parents are entering that last stage of life, and the adult siblings are becoming the primary decision makers or the supported decision makers of their sibling. And so that group definitely needs a very different approach than our 18 to 35s in the areas of continuing to keep moving, physically moving, and watching the medical needs that they have as they age and change. We are having conversations with families at that age group about transition planning. As I mentioned, we are an assisted living. We have an assisted living license, which means that if a person's needs exceed our license, we have to help them transition to a place where they're going to get the care that they need. So our residents in that age group are moving at a slower pace. We are being curious about what is going on with them so that we always know and try to foresee what's happening before the need is great, so that they can stay with us as long as possible. Financial supports. This is an age group where many of the residents that have been here a super long time are receiving financial aid support from Rainbow Acres in order to be able to stay here, their home, as long as possible. And then that last column is everyone, community. We have a community that loves, it was hard to pick this many things. It's so many more, but these are the things that our residents love the most. They love art, music, animals, friendship. They love walking. They love, well, maybe not nutrition as much. That's what we want people to love more. And getting good sleep, having spiritual support, and lifelong learning. Those are the things that are hallmarks of our campus, and that our programming often flows out of those things that people love. I want to give you an example of a young woman who moved into Rainbow Acres a few years ago, and what we were able to see in the transition of her from when she was living alone before Rainbow Acres, and what's happened since she's been living here. So Jane was living on her own in an apartment that was very disorganized. She was healthy eating was very overwhelming. She had hygiene challenges. She was not employed. She's very isolated, not feeling good about the gifts that she had. And the gifts that she had are many. And so feeling uncertain about them came from that isolation and not having the proper supports in place to be able to say, that she had more to offer. So Jane gave Rainbow Acres a try, and now she has a huge group of friends, a part-time job with our animals. She's lost 70 pounds. She's a skilled artisan. She makes jewelry with the tiniest beads you've ever seen in your life. She was the lead actress in our play, and she's just in some ways unrecognizable from the day that she first moved in. So it's a joy for me when I see her. And I just loved her confidence. She recently was playing the violin and singing in our choir. And after a recent recital, she said, "Is there anything I can't do?" And I just thought that was an exciting example of how she's feeling now versus the way that she felt the day that we met. Employment, our campus, just a few pieces of information that I think are really helpful to know. We have 83 employees across all departments. So just essentially one-to-one, even though that includes every single person. Our certified caregivers are a unique group of people that 96% of them have 8 years of experience or more. So I think it's really, especially at this moment in time, worth noting that our caregiver turnover rate is totally different than the national average, and we take pride in the people that work here. And I would say also that the people that work here truly work here because they have a passion for what we do. As an aside, this is kind of a retirement area in the Sedona, the Verde Valley area. So people do have many choices when choosing where to work if their heart is for direct care. And so the people that come to work at Rainbow Acres come to do that here because they feel the culture and the difference in serving our residents, and most people come to stay. 60% of our residents have paid employment. That is both on the campus and in our local communities of Sedona, Camp Verde, and Cottonwood. And if you haven't come to our area, please do. It's really beautiful. Like I said at the beginning, Rainbow Acres heavily relies on the sacrificial giving of people from all over the country. So we have volunteers from all over the country that come, and locally. Some people are second generation volunteers. So people whose parents first heard the story of Rainbow Acres from Ralph, our founder, who came to their church and said, "I'm going to build this place and it's going to be a really special place." And people came to volunteer in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And now sometimes their children, who are now in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, are our next generation of volunteers. We have churches that have been supporting Rainbow Acres for 50 years. We currently have a group on site right now from California that's here to serve our campus for the entire week. So philanthropic support is a makes a huge impact on the ability to serve people after they have outlived their loved ones' resources. We also would, in every tour that I give, it's really obvious that in-kind gifts of supplies make a huge difference in supporting the operations of the ranch. People that come to volunteer often also bring supplies, or people bring us things that help make our campus what it is. For instance, a beautiful weaving room filled with looms, and all of those looms were given to us. So these are two snapshots of our finances. So our income, you can see that 76% of our income comes from fees from families and our annual fund donations. So we do have the Adopt a Rancher program, is a place where people can designate their donations to specifically go to those residents who have outlived their family's finances. On the expense side, it's very important to note that scholarships for ranchers, over $1 million in the ability to tell people that they can continue staying here even if they're not able to meet the cost of care. So it's an important part of Rainbow Acres' mission to continue to raise funds to support people staying here throughout as long in their lifetime as is possible within our license. So at Rainbow Acres, we want to always be moving forward, and part of how we do that is these spotlights, learning about how other people are doing things across the country, seeing what other people are doing, preparing and evaluating and improving the things that we do here. And so expanding programming to meet the needs of our residents as the needs of our residents change is a huge part of how we spend our days. These last several years, we have one of our biggest challenges has been seeing some of our older and long-term residents needing to move to skilled nursing. So it's our objective to make sure that we're building relationships with local skilled nursing facilities and finding ways that we can help them improve their processes and serving adults with different needs, and for some people to not be, I think we've experienced some skilled nursing organizations feeling like they aren't equipped to serve our population. And so we need to help them know how to meet the needs of the people that come into their care after they've left our care. We are working to collaborate with our families to help them and churches be our ambassador program, helping them be the hands and feet of sharing our mission across the country, so that the third generation of donors can come and help people live here in a private pay, faith-based organization so that they can have their needs met for as long as possible. We, like I said, meeting the needs of our aging residents is top of mind for us right now. And another thing that we're working on is expanding our Rainbow bus route. So as I mentioned, we live in a rural location where we unfortunately are not walkable to businesses that are, right outside of our gates, which means that we have to create that ability to have access to the community for our residents. And the location of our town means that people need to rely on us to places. This is just a picture of our choir celebrating after a recent concert, and I think it's a really beautiful picture of the group of our residents are all very different from each other, but they really have learned and learn every day how to live in community with each other. It's our goal that they would be empowered and living their lives to their greatest potential. And I'm really grateful that I got to tell you about it today. I feel like I spoke 1 million miles per minute, so we'll see how Ashley feels about it. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to answer questions.